I hope that you grabbed yourself something to sip and nibble on. I've never actually ate through a video before, but I'm a little bit peckish. So I thought to make this filming experience better for me, I want a snack as well. And the hot water really helps because it's a very chilly day. My SpongeBob fleece blanket is being totally claimed by the cats, so I would have it in my lap, but instead I only have my SpongeBob pajamas to suffice me. If you've never tuned into any of my other notes, I like to look back on certain memories and share with you things that maybe were left out in the vlogs, so that I could keep this kind of in a time capsule, but also share it with you like a diary. And I love that it's flexible, so it can look a little bit different every month. So the flow of this one is I'm going to do an update, fit in a little bit of a Q&A, and then wrap up with my 2022 goals. I'm so excited, actually. I'm very, very happy to be here because, as you know, I have not actually made any content in January. The last 2 videos were published, but backdated from December footage. So this is my first time. How am I doing? Overall, I'm doing well. I know I've made a lot of progress towards the life I want to live and the vision. I haven't finished my vision board yet. I was hoping to share it with you today, but it didn't happen. I'm kind of just in this blank slate zone where I needed some silence to really figure out what it is I want. I've been doing YouTube consistently since high school, and then in college it became really serious, and I just have not stopped. I never took a gap year from school. I never really had a summer break where I wasn't working. I realized it's really healthy to take a breather, to just live and react to who you are naturally rather than feel labeled by my past. If anything, I want to look back and honor the person I was, but realize that it is always changing, always growing with time. The point I'm trying to make... Ooh. Feeling haunted by my past, not sure who I am, is very much having to do with caring about what others think about me, or constantly spending my energy thinking about the perception of me by anyone who follows me on YouTube, Instagram, or by my peers in college, or by my friends and family. Why it's so important to take time for yourself and to protect your energy is so that you can first and foremost value your own opinion, your own wants and needs before anybody else's expectations. And with that said, my own expectations were just so influenced by what I felt my perception was worth, or what I felt like I had to do to maintain a certain perception. And I want to continue to slow down so that I could really be aware of what I'm living for. And for the longest time, it's I actually don't really know, other than to feel like I'm surviving and meeting the bare expectations of being enough. I'm doing so much healing work that it is important to take a lot of time to think about those things. I still have my weekly therapy sessions. I actually have one right after I'm done filming. December dailies kind of drove a big train through a lot of the habits that I was procuring, like having morning rituals. It just kind of threw that all off because I started to edit until 2 in the morning. If I were to continue doing December daily in the future, I really want to make it possible without having to sacrifice my health. Thankfully, I've been getting the right amount of sleep recently. I go to bed around midnight to 1 a.m. now. Pretty late for Grandma Bell back in the day. You know, I slept at 9:30, woke up at 5 to see the sunrise. And I don't know if I care about waking up at 5 a.m., but I do like sunlight. I love morning time, so I want to expand. Hey girl, come here. Queenie, come here. Careful, careful. So I just want to kind of lengthen the morning time that I get and not be up doing productive things when it's completely pitch black outside. Sleeping is like a science for me where all of the conditions have to be met, and my dreams just have been really terrible. I get very vivid dreams, and I just don't feel like I rested at all. It felt like I was awake the whole night, feeling really uncomfortable. Once in a blue moon, I get a really pleasant dream, but most of the time, even growing up, I had the most violent, unpleasant dreams, and recently I've been paying more attention to them. My dreams have been I would steal from a store and run away. Last night I think I had a dream where I was going around the house and locking all of the doors and windows because I just kept feeling like someone that I feared was going to show up. There's definitely something in here that I have not figured out yet, so I'm going to do my best to find out what it is so that I could rest better. And that, I think, is going to be like a keystone habit, just getting good rest. Running on low sleep consistently has been really bad for my mood and also affects my depression and anxiety, where I would feel like paralyzed. I have all of these things I want to do, but all of those overwhelm me, so then I do none of it, and I'll escape into watching shows or YouTube and ignoring all of my responsibilities. I would like binge stuff for 3 hours and hope that 11 p.m. could come soon so that I could feel tired and go to sleep. That's definitely not the way I want to live. That's not how I like to use my time. And I want to use entertainment for enjoyment, not for like escaping or like getting numb. YouTube that I have been intentionally and mindfully watching is The Purple Palace. Shayna is one of my favorite creators. She was like handling this porcelain that was passed down from her grandma and said, why don't we treat ourselves like when we handle this fine porcelain? Like, why aren't we gentle and careful with ourselves? And she also touched on like mothering herself and wanting to take better care of herself, and I really relate to that. And I have been noticing the voice in my head, the way I talk to myself. I have been treating myself like my own baby. You know, we have to reparent ourselves, or to also look back at our inner child and fulfill their needs that you didn't get throughout childhood. I call myself baby in my head. When I'm just feeling absolute shit, when I'm feeling so overwhelmed or afraid, I'm like, you got this, baby. You're okay, baby. You're okay. And that voice is coming from me and nobody else. I'm not wanting some man or some parent, some protective figure. It's like, I'm here for you. And I'm finally feeling that presence. Like, oh, you got it. You're okay, baby. So I'm like baby Piper. Like, this is kind of like a strange thing I'm sharing with you right now to voice out. But it has really been kind of cute, beautiful thing. So regarding my hobbies, I've been doing martial arts for several months, and I wanted to start jujitsu this month. So instead of just doing jeet kune do, which is a lot of like kicking and a lot of kickboxing, I wanted to try more grappling and being on the ground so that I feel like I could really have the street application. But that didn't happen in all of this month at all because of the surge, and I just thought staying home is the best for now. And in the meantime, something I have been doing is I started ceramics, and I was so happy. Were you there when I was like a crybaby and I couldn't get into ceramics in senior year of ISD, and I was just so sad? And that was hilarious because that happened in February, and then in March the whole school shut down because of a freaking pandemic. It's okay because timing wise, I am meant to be here and to start ceramics right now. And I only took 2 classes so far. I think in total I've only spent like 10 hours. Throwing so hard. Oh my goodness. First of all, my back, my inner leg muscles, I was so in pain. It was just really humbling. And one thing that I love about making art is that when you recognize good design or good craftsmanship, being able to have done it yourself truly makes you appreciate it to another level. So I really encourage you to do it, even if you don't want to be professional at any kind of art form. Try it out, try tufting, try knitting, and then you will never look at a sweater the same way again. My love. Hand building comes a lot more naturally because I have played around with, I guess, polymer clay before. I'm experimenting with like the moisture levels, and it's just gonna take a lot of doing it to realize what kind of mistakes I'm gonna make. And yeah, so I'm kind of taking this time to just play. And as you know, another new thing that's coming into my life is the next apartment that I'm moving into. That's why I wanted to sit down here and chat with you in this area of like half office, half living room, because it is the last time that I'm going to be filming in this space. Luckily, my agency was able to come through and they got me a gifted move. So I'm going to be doing like an Instagram post, which is huge. because I've never actually hired a company that would come in and help me pack and help me move and transport. The hardest part is the stairs, okay? I live in a walk-up. There's 3 flights of very narrow and steep stairs, and the next place I'm moving into is also on the 4th floor. Knowing myself, I would have never paid for all this professional service because I like to try to be as budgetary as possible. So it's great to have this perk to have social media be my job, and then also like serendipitously working out just a week before. But the reason why I decided to move is because this apartment has started to show some wear and tear as of late, and I realized it's because right before I moved in, the landlords and whatnot, they like completely made this place pristine. They even glazed the bathtub and glazed the wooden floors. All of that kind of temporary band-aid fix is starting to unravel now. I'm seeing a lot of cracks and like water stains in the walls. There's leaks in the bathroom, and the glaze that they put on the wood floors has a big scorch mark where the radiator was. So I don't think they really calculated what kind of heat the material can take. Overall, it's still a really great place, and nothing is incredibly threatening. Lastly, I got a little bit concerned when I started hearing these little noises in between my windows, like on this wall of the apartment. And then I realized that there are little creatures living here. This is not just my flat, it's also theirs. Because my cats would just sit and stare at the wall for hours, mostly at night. I knocked. I went up to the wall and I actually knocked. And then I heard, and then now I hear almost every night now. So I'm like, okay, please don't come in. The light bulb turned on that, okay, I could look into other places. Why not? And the perfect thing just fell into my lap basically when I came across a 2-bedroom apartment with an outdoor patio, and the outdoor space is like half the size of this studio. It is so big, and I wanted that fresh air. I could have a couch where when my guests come over, they can sit on the couch and I can entertain. There's gonna be a very extensive vlog coming up, if not like a couple of vlogs, so you'll see it. And I'm gonna move on to the next thing I wanted to say. I wanted to reflect on this time last year. I was apartment hunting. One of my best friends lived here back then. He actually moved away. He bought a couch bed just for me, which is so sweet because he was one of those, bachelor guys, literally just living with a bed and a fold-out table and a laptop. And we went to look at, I think, 18 apartments together. Oh my god, look how many flights of stairs there are.
Hey, we wasted our time on the first ones. That's okay.
Bigger kitchen, tiny counter. I mean, what can you expect though? Big fridge. And then the only surprising nice touch is the pink bathroom, which I love. The biggest change in the last year is like my mind has opened up to the possibility that the unknown can be good. Even if something is scary or you don't think you can do it, you just gotta try and take those little steps and you can get there. Honestly, probably in ways that you can't have predicted. And that's all right. So I'm proud of myself looking back at the first time I looked at apartments and just felt like that reality felt many, many worlds away. How could I ever do that? I think this achievement in itself has given me the confidence to want to pursue other things, even if I also get the impression like, how am I gonna ever pull that off? Well, I don't know. How am I supposed to know right now? I'll tell you in hindsight. By the way, if you hear a little whistle, because Prairie Girl here has a very whistly nose. That's something I love about her. And she has been the sweetest prairie berry. Oh my gosh. Okay, so my relationship with my daughter has really improved this year. She is a late bloomer, as you might say. Some cats just hate being touched. They hate being hugged. They just want their own space. And I thought Prairie was one of them. And I've had her for 4 years. And granted, we lived apart for a whole year during 2020, and it took her a long time to forgive me and to trust me again. But recently, she just started wanting my affection. She would walk into my lap, she would smile, she would purr, and it's just nice that I think we kind of manifested this love together. I didn't push her, and I never expected it of her. Well, she sees something. I realized that we can have a beautiful relationship, whether or not we get to cuddle, but I'm that makes me even more grateful to know that she likes to sit in my lap and cuddle with me now. This is a super long video and I don't think I'm gonna actually keep everything I'm saying in here, but I will try to do what I can.
The battery is dying.
Months ago, I wanted to do a Q&A and I got a bunch of questions submitted and then I never did it. Every notes video maybe can have a little Q&A section, so it's like a cool segmented talk show. So question number 1, what's something you'd say to the you that existed a year ago? Trust the process. You know that you just get there and the little steps you take, just keep moving and make sure that you rest a lot. Rest a lot. You can't do anything else without resting. The universe, Mother Nature already teaches us that. That's why there is day and night. If you could relocate to a different country, where? So France would be a big one, but maybe any other neighboring countries where French is used a lot would be awesome, so that I could learn to be more fluent. Well, to be fluent, because I'm not fluent at all. I don't think that's gonna happen within the next few years because my sister is going to have a son and I wanna be in his life and I wanna see him grow. I'm not opposed to living somewhere for a few years or even a few months, or applying to a program maybe to go back to school or do a residency, somewhere where I can improve my Chinese. I would love to go to Taiwan. Those are just the first things that popped in my head. Are you watching anything at the moment? I've been watching Sex and the City for the second time at the moment, just because it's like a nice background filler, even though I really disagree with a lot of the stuff the show has. And recently I've also been watching And Just Like That, which is kind of very cringy at times, but then I just have to watch it because I have to know what happens to the characters. So that's what I'm watching at the moment. And then favorite hair color you've had? If I were to bleach and dye my hair again, it would definitely be pink, but I just don't expect that from me anytime soon. It's really expensive and a pain to keep up with, and then showering is really hard when your hair starts getting damaged because it's like impossible to untangle when it gets matted. This is virgin hair right now and it's just low maintenance. Are you keeping any plants? No, I'm not. But you know what? I am watering a very important plant, the plant of self-love. So now that I have a patio space, I feel a lot more comfortable with having a plant where I can have the room to get messy, to buy soil, to repot, to tend to them, to maintain. And my mom promised that she would fly occasionally and tend to my garden for me so that they can stay alive. I know I can have Google, but you don't need Google when you have Le Mom and Grandma with Le Green Thumbs. And speaking of gardens, I just want to give a quick shout out to this beautiful dress I am wearing. Samantha Pleat is a designer based in New York, and I've been following her designs for years. I just never brought myself to buy any piece yet because she's one of those designers where I want half of the collection, but how can I choose from everything? And she approached me last month and said that she would love to gift me a couple of pieces. It did help narrowing down to this dress because it was the only one left in my size. I was like, if you don't decide this, they're all gonna be sold out soon. Thank you so much, Samantha Pleat, for this dress, for making me feel fabulous, whimsical, ethereal. I ran out of words to throw out there. Okay, I'm back from my therapy session and it was a really good one today. This video is super long, so I'm just going to get to the last segment, which is the year's goals. And my motivations for these goals and whatever I want to do is because it has to be meaningful to me. So I just want to spend less of my time and energy on doing things because I feel like I should. So let's start with personal. I would really like to get an orange belt or a green or a blue belt, just basically make some advancements. And I really enjoy being active and getting my endorphins through martial arts because I'm kind of bored of the gym routine that I did all throughout college where I'm like following a video or I'm doing the same reps. So having these skills that come hand in hand with also being able to get strong and feel like I can defend myself and just feel badass and hot. Host dinner parties and have quality friends time. So especially with a big apartment, that will be a possibility once it is safer for people to get together. I would love to cook my friends yummy food or just laugh and lounge around. I wrote courage and open with a heart that I drew. I forget a lot of times that showing up and continuing to show up is success in itself. And I get lost in the inner critic You know, when I started martial arts, I was like, oh, I'm a beginner. I expect myself to be bad. But as soon as I started advancing, I started feeling like it was less fun because I became afraid that if I didn't get this good by this time, or if I didn't get the yellow belt by the time my peers got the yellow belt, it means something's wrong with me. So to have the courage to just show up and do something for the sake of doing it is very, very important to me. And openness, to have an open heart. Perception is everything, is your reality. You live by your truths, and it's the affirmation that I got from Shayna. Since things are always working out for me, there must be value in this. I find value in a lot of the trials I face, and I find value and silver linings. So those are just some of my personal goals. And I also have health improvement goals. Like I want to improve my sleep. And then I have not been getting the best bowel movements for a long time. Okay, I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable, but too much blood, too many times. So something's wrong, and I've gone to the doctor about it, and I recently took a test, and I haven't gotten the results back, to test what my microbiome is like, so the bacteria in your gut. You want more good bacteria rather than bad bacteria. So moving on to creative goals. By the time I finish my 3-month course in ceramics, I would love to make a lamp. I want to make a big project where it has some sort of component to it where like there's wiring, and I have to design the object spatially so that it can function. I would love to start writing poetry again. I would love to express poetry in music in some way. Maybe I could collaborate with some musical people to have some kind of like spoken word or some little duets, who knows. And then I wrote courage as well in creativity, because it is really, really hard to put something out there, especially when it comes from somewhere that's like so genuinely you, and you don't know. I mean, I know that not everyone's gonna like it, but then for some reason I felt this responsibility that it's gonna be my fault when inevitably someone doesn't like it. It's more important to me that I put it out there because I have the right to take up space in this life I'm living. So go forth and be free. This is when the sun is bouncing off that window. My career goals are next. I would love to build a portfolio, like a website that's more dedicated to my paintings and illustration, because right now piperblue.com is just a shop, and I really want to collaborate with brands in the future as an artist and designer, improve my Patreon, or just give it a whole revamp, because when I started it, I was a different person back then. I'm not doing Patreon full time, but the tiers that I created is for somebody who's doing it full time, and I just don't have the energy or even the interest to upkeep something like that. That's still kind of under wraps. Like I'm not sure. I haven't made a lot of decisions yet. Now lastly, for my YouTube goals, I want to try my new series ideas. Some I've had for months or even years, but I just never really started on because I felt pretty paralyzed and burnt out. So given that, I want to rest, recuperate, and try these new things and have fun with it. I'd also want to potentially hire an editor so that I could have more time to explore other mediums of art. I was very protective of my videos and my process, and I love editing so much, but it's becoming to the point where I think I do love making content and thinking about new ideas, but then I really limit what I can put out there if I'm the only person that's editing. And then I would also love to do a little bit of rebranding for my banner, maybe get an intro segment or like an end slate segment that has a little, what do you call it, like a jingle. I would love to do an animation, but I'm still figuring out what it is I really want, what I identify with. So those are my YouTube goals. And then lastly, I think a really holistic goal that I'm going to close out with is I am going to take things slower, and I'm going to rest more. If it has not been obvious enough to me in the last 4 or 5 years, I can look back at the vlogs, they're evidence, as I truly have not learned how to rest yet. It's interesting that I'm shifting from feeling like rest is a luxury to rest is my right. I was used to a go, go, go kind of lifestyle from 3rd grade. I didn't really fit in the rest part of taking care of yourself. So even through college, I said before how it was a go, go, go. I was juggling school, and I was able to do December daily every other day in finals And I felt like that was my normal, and that was my fulfilled, most content, most at peace peak, which now I realize it's not. I got a cold probably every month, maybe every 2 weeks even. I came down with a fever from lack of sleep. Moving to New York and feeling good about myself and starting to do YouTube consistently, suddenly in May, I just felt wiped out. And it wouldn't be like classic cold symptoms where I have a sore throat or anything. I would just feel like the head pain is unbearable. My heart rate is extremely high. It's like I'm running a mile, but I'm just lying in bed. To get to the bathroom would be hard. I had the illusion of resting, but a lot of what I did during rest was still productive, was still redeeming, and it would just be work. Rest from art school was YouTube, aka work. I had no social life in school. I mean, it was a miracle that I still made really close friends, but if I could do it all again, I would rest more and live my life more. So that closes out my giant whopping January notes for you. Thank you so much again for spending your time with me. I hope that, you know what? You probably can't really see that quote clearly because I'm running low on my dry erase marker. So I haven't been posting my butterfly quotes on my story lately because I need a new dry erase marker, believe it or not. But today I wanted to write this journal prompt. What are you open to this year? What have you feel like you've become open to that you haven't previously? I am open to fill in the blank. Comment down below. For me, I am open to experiencing step by step this long journey, a lifetime's worth of lessons, of finding out who I really am, what it is I want to do, and I'm open to forgiveness, and I'm open to slowing down, feeling alive. See you next time.